I'm gonna be honest with all of you. You know, I try to be a team player. I try to, be a supporter to people and talk to people and say how I feel and shit like that and stuff where fans like me are not gonna be or people like me are not gonna be a problem. But I feel like the more and more I talk about things that I feel unwelcomed, the more I feel like I'm never going to be welcome in a community. Yeah, we're talking about communities. I really feel like I'm never going to be welcomed. I really feel like, no matter how much you try, no matter how much you say to people, no matter how much you give back to people's respect and say how much you truly are thankful to a person, unless if it's your good friend of yours and everything between, then that person doesn't deserve it. Because every time you try to do that, they'll spit in the face of you so many times, you'll just get sick of it. And that's what I truly feel when I was in the Awesome Universe community, because I felt like every time when I was in the Awesome Universe community, I felt like an outcast. Just absolutely an outcast because there were so many things that people dislike on my opinion, like Star Wars. Star Wars is definitely the definition of. I know that for a fact. I know that for a fact because I disagreed with the whole viewpoint of Star Wars isn't ruined by Disney, it's you. I agree with that statement. I agree with that statement of Star Wars was ruined by the fans, not by the creators. The creators can only do so much, and that means George Lucas and uh, Disney. And there was people out there that were shitting on George Lucas and say George Lucas ruining Star Wars. And now everyone's trying to cover that up and say, "Oh, it was Disney who was actually the blame." Are you sure about that? Or is it just the fact that you only like what you're given, or you just saying that just because you don't like what's going on right now? You see the contradictions, you see the bullshit that what I'm saying. You see so many times of people say one thing, that character is ruined, or this franchise is ruined by a company or a guy. Then they flip flop and they just pretend that shit never existed. And it just bothers the fucking shit out of me. It bothers the shit out of me. And, I try so hard to not fucking listen as much as I can. But anyway, it's just it is what it is. But I mean, the biggest problem that I feel is the goddamn fucking uh, Spider-Man fans as well. Every time there is a Marvel game, they criticize it like the 10th degree, and it's really, really, really annoying. And I just get very almost down to my stomach, makes me puke. It makes me want to puke that you're telling me, let me get this straight, you're telling me this is bad, but you'll buy that Call of Duty uh, Spider Man game because it's what you grew up with. Right? Right? Nice. Nice. Real nice. You selfish bastards. Just real nice. I'm sorry, I had to just say that because that's how I feel. That's how I truly, truly, truly feel. And there's not a damn thing that anyone else could say about it because I believe that. I believe that's the case. You know, there are people out there that will say, "Oh no, 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 no." Oh, and I'm saying yes, 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 and you just don't want to fucking say it because either A, you're too stupid, or B, you're just too fucking asshole dick, and you just wanted to be the better fucking guy, and you just rather take this bullshit and just suck that cock of Spider-Man so many times that people get sick and tired of it. That's what I really see a lot of people doing. They would rather suck that Spider-Man cock. And I get it, I get it. Not every Marvel game should be a multiplayer. I totally, totally agree with that statement. But there are times that, like yours truly, uh, Avengers or Ultimate Alliance or some other game that really would work in a multiplayer slash video game aspect that will work perfectly. I personally believe if you make a yeah, oh yeah, that's true. That's true. It's getting Todd is letting woke writer. I don't know about that. I mean, like personally for me, I mean, like if it's good, it's good. I mean, like woke. I mean, that's. I feel like that's so overused to a certain degree. I feel like let's give the writer a chance. Let's not try to shit all over it just because. And you know, I get it. You may think a different way than I do. I'm a very let's just say you could call me a woke person myself. There are changes I felt like, hey, that looked in a better word, that was a better direction than what we have right now. For Spawn, he'll be fine. It's just he'll be fine. I mean, I don't really see that that's the problem of that whole thing. You could disagree with me. That's fine. I understand your opinion. Good for you. But back to the whole subject I was saying. But I mean, I just feel like some Marvel games should be taking experiments, and I feel like that should be the direction that we should go. Try different things, get an audience that will go play those games, and not rely on one character. That's my main issue. But yeah. Anyway, I'd rather be entertained and then be told that I'm the pro. Oh yeah, yeah, I totally agree with you, buddy. That's something I'm like, oh, okay. To me, I'm like, but yet again, I'm like, there's so many other things I could look at that I could give you, like, for example, I mean, let's say you're the writer and you do things very differently that many fans may say that's woke, or many fans may say I don't agree with that direction, or many fans say I don't think that's a good idea. I mean, to you, I'm like, so I mean, what's your problem? You can go read something else. It's not uh, anyone else's problem. Just go somewhere else. That's my mentality of solving the issue. But if a writer attacks the fans, oh man, you're just literally fueling that fire, and you really should have never done what you just did, idiot. And that's what I kind of see with a lot of writers and directors and everything else, and that's something that is very much a common thing. And I just, oh yeah, I just watched. Well, how was it? I saw some bits of what's going on in that show, but anyway, kind of go back to what I was saying. Um, it's just I would, in my belief, I personally believe that people should take a little bit of a backseat and just let it go and see how it takes the story. Just give the writer a shot. Just give the writer a shot. Like, for example, um, I may really dislike a lot of things on Thor right now. I don't like the fact that Beta Ray Bill lost his hammer. I don't like the fact that Donald Blake was a villain for reasons I may never understand. I dislike the fact that they're really kind of hinting that Thor may not be worthy for Mjolnir, and that really kind of pissed me off. And it's just, but I'm giving the writer a shot. I'm giving him a chance to tell his story. So therefore, if he fucks up fully, I have every right to fucking just destroy his book, because I allowed a mountain of issues to go forward, and I could truly see what he was trying to go for, and I have said, okay, I say my opinion. They don't like be right back. But anyway, but it's just the facts are I disagree with the whole woke statement. I think the woke statement is just like an SJW. Like, look, it's overused, and I think it's lost its meaning. I mean, when I see something really interesting, I don't consider that woke. I consider that to be entertainment. Like people say, the Nifty Two uh, is a insulting of the fans or whatever, and sometimes even woke or SJW or even all new, all different, which I clearly say, no, that's not even true. That's not even half the truth. That's bullshit. That's what I say, because half the books were pretty damn good. I don't watch movies that got me got real woke. Well, for eh, well, I'm gonna look her up. Okay, let's see what she's done. I might have heard of her. I think I have. Hold on, just give me 1 minute. Uh, okay, just give me 1 minute, buddy. All right. Oh, her. I know her. She was in the Captain Marvel books, and did some pretty cool shit with the uh, Aquaman too. Yeah, I heard of her. She's a decent writer. She's all right. Not really my cup of tea. She also did Thor. Um, yeah, she's all right. I mean, I don't really see her as the problem. But I mean, personally, for me, I feel like it's just, what's that word? I personally feel that writers should either say, if you like the book, that's awesome. If you don't like it, well, I'm sorry. I don't know what else I could say to you. I mean, like, it's just that it's not. It should be in a way where it's not insulting. It's just leaving it on the table and have the fans say whatever the fuck they want to say and all that crap. Her run with Aquaman got canceled. She told, yeah, because either A, they probably wanted to do either A1, she was going on a different direction with the character and fans didn't like it. And plus, DC loves to cancel their books and just give on to the more on the cocktails of Batman. And plus, another thing is, there was really nothing really great about the Aquaman book. I mean, granted, it was good in my eyes, but I mean, but in other people's eyes, just people dislike it. Oh, she did a Predator and Alien book? Oh, didn't know that. But I mean, I just personally believe that. I mean, people say don't buy the book. I'm like, yeah, it's gonna get canceled, no doubt. I mean, what else is there to expect? I mean, you get the point I'm trying to say. That's all I'm gonna say. Yeah, I know. Anything else? it got canceled. Yeah, I know that, but it's just that what I see is just I I know you look things very differently. What I see on terms of comics or entertainment in general, I just feel like certain directions fans should take and see where it goes. And if it really is shit, then criticize. And also vote for your wallet. That's also another thing too. I wouldn't say that, but I mean, wouldn't be the first. Um, but yet again, I mean, it is what it is. But I mean, I'm gonna support books that are actually worth the shit, and uh, it's just that I believe that Spawn is gonna be fine. It's not like McFarlane is gonna absolutely retcon half the shit like he did before, like a couple of years ago, where oh wait, we're gonna have the whole moment where let's have that whole storyline where Al Simmons, when he came, the whole point, the reason why he came back to see his wife, and actually we find out more about what really went down, and yeah, that's just the thing. And I'm talking about reference of the aftermath of the part where he defeated God and Satan, and that whole part where he became human again, and the whole part where before he blow himself up, and Jim Downing came along and all that shit. So yeah, and also explain. Oh wait, the reason why, or should I say, the whole time when Al Simmons was around, and the reason why he became a white guy is because an angel was with him this entire time. It's just unbelievable. But it is what it is. I mean, like, if it ever gets canceled, I'm sure we'll find some kind of loophole around it. I mean, if the book doesn't sell, it doesn't sell. That's just how I look at it, and I'm not too worried about it. Like, I think personally, it's not even his movie. Are you talking? Wait. Are you talking about the comics? Or are you talking about the? No, what? Fuck it. I'm putting you on. Come board. Come board. Are you talking about the movie? Or are you talking about the comic? I'm a little lost what you're trying to say. I thought you were talking about the comic. If you're talking about comics of all right.
Well, as I stated before, it's not his movie anymore. The Hollywood execs are letting him, are making him.
What are you talking about? Are you talking about the comics? Or are you talking about?
I'm talking about the fucking movie.
Oh! No, look, buddy, I'm kind of grateful we got that, because knowing we got on the leaked script of
the fact that they're making him, they're making him put these people on board. They're not. He's not going to be telling his version. They're telling what other people interpret of Spawn, not his interpretation.
Yeah,
it's not his fucking movie anymore.
Interpretation sucked. If you read should I say, if the leaks, if you saw the videos that were literally talk about what was made about the leak script and what can't even say right, what McFarlane wanted to go for was nothing like Spawn. He wanted to make a independent horror movie that barely had Spawn in it. And honestly, I'm like, that's not Spawn. And everything sound like it's not Spawn. It's not Spawn.
1 sec, I can barely hear you.
What I think of Spawn may not, you agree. I personally think of Spawn as a superhero type character because I like the 90s aspect of him being that character.
Here's the thing. Spawn's an anti-hero, but over the years, he's just become a fucking demon that hides in the alleyways of New York City. That's what he is. He's a demon.
Yeah, because McFarlane wanted to go for that direction.
That's what he's in the comics now. That's what he's in the comics. He's not a superhero. He's anything but a superhero.
Yeah, but now we're slowly going to go back to that point where he's facing enemies. I mean, I read the recent issue. I'm like, just pretty much reminds me what I read over the years of what Spawn was.
I'm just saying from what I've read, from everything all to Jim Downing to his return, nothing superhero about it. More like he's going on his own little journey in a sense.
Yeah, well, that's what I look at. Like he's doing, like he's battling villains. Like there was a recent issue where
not villains, just people that fuck with his personal life. That's basically about it. Every villain he's ever faced has just been something that's gone in his personal way on his own little personal journey and through his new life, basically, since he made the deal with the devil.
What about that big monster? Hold on, I'm gonna get that one. Wait, what? Where'd you go? I guess you had to go. But anyway, like I said, I mean, like the whole thing. What I see with Spawn is like, I personally believe that with the film, I thought you were talking about the film. Or I thought you were talking about the comic, but I'll take part of my. I take back my confusion. I'm sorry about that, Inferno. I apologize on that shit. I didn't know you were talking about the I didn't know I didn't know you were talking about the movie. I thought you were talking about the comics. But besides all that stuff, I think that as for the film, let's see how it goes. I mean, at this point, I'm like, hearing what we're gonna get in the Spawn movie by McFarlane. Yeah, I'm pretty glad. And also another thing is, McFarlane never directed a single movie. He never directed a single movie. So I just feel like that was very worried about. Oh wait, now he's back now. That was back to what I was saying. Like,
well, let me finish what I was trying to say. Like, here's the thing. I understand if there should be rewrites, sure, but you shouldn't, twist and turn an owner's interpretation of his work. I understand, if you want to do rewrites to make things, to make things function better in the story, that's understandable, but don't completely fucking change the fucking thing.
Here's the thing about my problem with his idea. He didn't want to have no spotlight on Spawn. And that's all like, so you basically kind of like giving all the spotlight on Twitch. Yeah, I mean, no disrespect.
Well, Twitch is one of the best characters. Twitch is one of the main characters besides Spawn in the whole Spawn universe.
I know that, but I'm like, but just a lot of people like you could have Twitch and Sam all there, but you have to give somewhat of the spotlight towards Spawn. We need to know his side of.
Well, I mean, if you ever watched the animated series, you would know that for the most part, they were like for the most part front and center, if not half the time at least.
I get what you're saying, and I get where you're trying to go. I understand what you're trying to say. I totally get it. But what
I understand, there's politics in just about everything. And today there's politics in everything. But I'm just saying, that shouldn't be the main focus of the movie. That shouldn't be the main.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
I mean, you asked me to come on it, and I'm just telling you as I'm saying it.
That's totally fine. And also another thing, I thought you were talking about the comics, not the movies. And I'm
not talking about the comics. I'm talking about the movie.
Oh, okay. I'm like, for a moment, I'm sorry. I didn't know if I was rude to you or like if I offend you.
The comic books are doing fine as is because he has complete control. And he's doing his own thing. But I'm just saying, for the movie, they're twisting his arm and twisting his ankle. They're making him bend the fucking knee to let them do what they want to do with the movie.
Let me kind of defend on their behalf on this degree. I don't think having Spawn be I disagree the idea of McFarlane on not having Spawn be there. If he's going to be like a side character and you're going to see him a few times, then that's fine. But you got to not just abandon your work.
Well, here's the thing.
And also by the person that literally has a history of reporting scripts that are absolutely fact. I
Well,
believe
let's talk about movies first. Let's talk about movies. Godzilla, for example. He was only in 15 minutes of the film, but it was still a very good film compared to the sequel, King of the Monsters.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing: too much can be a good thing. Could be too much. Could be a good thing. Too much could be a bad thing too.
Yeah, okay, you get that. I get that.
Like for example, if Jaws, if everything was just about the shark and there was no human interactions, it would be a really fucking. It'd be like a documentary instead of a film.
Yeah, I can agree with your statement, and I'm not saying you're wrong, but I mean like I would like to have like, and this is just what I see with the Spawn story of his origin. I think there would have been a really cool direction to where we have him be the star of the show.
Well, here's the thing though. On a budget of $10 million, do you think you can film a superhero epic?
Yeah, if you get with enough budget and not overuse CGI.
So we can have a little midget guy turn into a giant fucking demon and have an epic battle, a $200 million battle on a budget of 10.
Like save Clown as for the sequel, because the Clown should be for like you can have the fat version of Clown.
Well, here's the thing. The Clown was the very first villain in the first 3 issues. Very first villain, Violator.
Yeah, that's true. You got me on that one.
The only thing I could see is that the main focus of the film would be Billy Kincaid and Spawn. There's these mysterious murders happening in these alleys. Twitch and Sam are trying to find out the case of these murders. Billy Kincaid gets released. He's killing kids, and then you get to the whole dynamic of Spawn. And his wife Wanda, and her daughter Cyan with her new husband Terry Fitzgerald. Getting the dynamic, of everything. Like Spawn has to come out of hiding to kill Billy Kincaid, and then Twitch and Sam find out who this character Spawn really is, who's doing all these murders and stuff.
Yeah, I agree. I could totally buy that. But
that's a $10 million story you can easily tell right there.
Yeah, absolutely. That's something I was trying to go for. That before you kind of said it all.
But except the main focus would be on Twitch and Sam and not Spawn, but Spawn would it's kind of like Batman Year One, where the main focus is Jim Gordon.
Okay, you really kind of nail on the spot on that one. I could agree on what you're saying, and I think that would absolutely work beautifully. But what I think, and this is just what I see, and this is just like kind of like what I kind of believe in, is like, for me, I personally believe that we could just absolutely just go on retelling the origin of Spawn and just present it to be better, and just use Billy for the first villain. And the other thing is,
we can't retell the story of Spawn, because the thing is that Chapel is no longer owned by Rob Liefeld, and Rob Liefeld no longer owns Chapel is a part of the Youngblood copyright, and unfortunately Rob Liefeld no longer owns Youngblood, and Youngblood's owned by a separate entity now.
Oh wow! Oh, and speaking
about, you can't tell the original story anymore.
I want to know something. What's your thoughts on the recent news on Marvel?
What Marvel? What recent news? You mean on the lawsuits?
Yeah, lawsuit. Yeah. Well,
I hope the original copyright owners, the original people who created, I hope they win.
Yeah, that's also what my biggest fears are, because
I hope they win, or they come to a fair settlement where they're getting their dues.
But yet again, I would also kind of like worry about what about the Venom, or should I say the Black Symbiote concept?
But here's the thing. I agree that maybe there should be, Here's the thing. They for a $10 million budget, you can do a lot with that. But I don't think doing a BLM film would be the right choice for Spawn.
Okay. Well, I get what you're saying, and I kind
of here's another thing I could agree with. Say there's a lot of corrupt cops that get killed in the alleyways, and they're killed by Spawn, and then Twitch and Sam got to figure out what's going on. That I can see.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of gangbangers, that do murders, deal drugs and shit in the alleyways that Spawn hangs out, and corrupt cops were involved. Yeah. That I can see get into because there are a lot of. Because here's the thing, I'm more of an anti-cop person nowadays because I'm like I believe in First Amendment audits, and you could say there's a lot of police that don't know the First Amendment particularly well, and you get a lot of people arrested just for no particular reason.
Yeah, or just actually.
So I can understand there being an anti-police type thing in this film. That I can agree with. I don't have an issue with.
I mean, like for me, I'm all into like the direction of Spawn just dealing with gangs or like you said, cops. Like I'm all into that type of stuff. Would be
corrupt cops, the gangs, the mafia. That I can understand, but the superhero battle epic you want to do, you can't do in a $10 million budget. Not unless you want to do a Japanese anime or some sort of direct to DVD animation.
I'm still kind of stunned that why hasn't McFarlane kick off the animated series?
Well, here's the thing.
I mean,
he probably had that little animation that was supposed to come out years ago but never did. Yeah. Maybe the studio he was working with, they kind of backed out, and HBO's not interested in making a new Spawn show, and he's kind of trying to shop around who's interested in doing a Spawn show.
I mean, but yet again, I'm like, well, look at Image. I mean, Image is killing it. I'm like, give it to Image. Give it to Amazon. Correct myself. What the fuck, man? Amazon's killing it with Incredible, Invincible, and I'm just literally thinking,
Invincible show I like, but I it's funny is I don't know if they're purposely trying to make Amber an unlikable character.
Your point.
Because it's just like Mark's he's trying to do everything he can to be the best boyfriend, but Amber's just being a pain in the fucking ass and just being a terrible person all around, not knowing the struggles Mark has to go through, and she only gets back with him out of pity because of what happened between him and his dad, Omni-Man.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, we'll see.
He's like, I got hit by a bus. I was in the hospital. She's like, well, you didn't show up. Well, I got hit by a bus.
No, sometimes girls and superheroes, they don't really mix out. I mean, she's not really irrelevant.
Oh, and here's the fun part that really ticks me off is like you ran away instead of revealing your identity to the whole entire world to protect me. Like the episode where we're at the college and he ran away to put on his invincible suit. I'm like, obviously he ran away to put on his suit. Can't you just put two and two together?
I think she already have, but she doesn't want to admit it right now, or she doesn't want to.
I'm like,
think about too much. I mean,
do you want that extra fucking baggage of him being a hero? Honestly.
Yeah, but yet again,
the show is good, but what they're doing with the character Amber. I mean, I can get why they're doing more with Amber because in the comic book she's just a fucking bimbo for all intents and purposes.
Yeah, I can agree. But yet again, I think they wanted to give off a better personality towards her. And if you want to have a personality where you wish that Mark would dump her and go for the other girl, Eve, then sure. But yeah, I agree.
Because I've already read every single book there's been, at least from the main series. I've never read any of the miniseries, but I've read it.
I really wish. Oh, it kind of says. I really wish there was a sequel series to where we get to see his daughter, kind of or his son, being the defender of mankind next, or being a hero, whatever. That's something I really want to see because I really feel like it's a little bit missed out the opportunity. You get what I mean?
I don't think they really need to because then it's going to be another dad versus son type thing. It would just be almost repeating what happened with Mark and Omni-Man, basically.
I don't know about that. They could have done.
Well, not in the sense of what happened in season 1, but in the sense dad versus son type shit. Because at the end of the last issue, he gets into a lot of fights with his dad, basically.
Yeah, but also his dad also kind of redeemed himself and realized like he was wrong and X, Y, and Z of how he should have been a better parent and should have been a better dad and how much he truly changed them. And that would have been really cool to see Omni-Man kind of go forward with his kids and not do the same as to be a team player with his son, with his kids, and it would have been a really cool sequel series. I mean, maybe I'm just giving off ideas, but it's just like that's something I would have liked to see.
But was the anime thing? I think you should just make a Japanese anime, like partner up with one of these anime companies like Studio Trigger or Bone or Madhouse, and just make an anime series or film.
I've been really hoping. I don't know if you read Witchblade or The Darkness. I've been really hoping we get.
I played the 2 games. That's about as much as I know about The Darkness.
Well, you really should read the Witchblade, and go read the Witchblade and the Darkness.
I know the Witchblade is connected to The Darkness, like they're entities that are connected to each other in a sense. Like the Darkness is like the male version, and the Witchblade's like the female version.
What I mean is, like, their books are very connected a lot in some ways.
Well, yeah, they're both done by the same creator.
I know that, but it's like I'm just saying. But I mean, for me, I just feel like with Spawn, it's just like I really want to see that character get represented. But I agree with you. Like, he shouldn't be bullshit.
Okay, here's what I'm saying is that there should be proper representation for Spawn, both in writing and in the actor. But I'm just saying, don't be fucking woke skull. Don't be too fucking political to the point where you're gonna turn off viewers.
Yeah,
try to make something for the general audience can watch and accept and love and cherish.
Exactly. And
Black Panther had some political messaging, but at least people could watch the film and enjoy it.
Oh yeah, I can agree, but I mean, but with Black Panther, I kind of feel like they kind of screwed themselves because they killed off Claw, which they should have never done, and
not just Black Panther, but the original Blade. We'll go by the original Blade too.
Yeah.
They did really well with that film, Blade.
Oh, yeah, too. Oh, yeah, exactly. I would say Blade and Black Panther really opened the door for Spawn and...
even the first Spawn movie was pretty good, all things considered. It just didn't age really well.
Yeah, it aged well, but also didn't age well. It's like
it's a decent film, but compared to today's standards, it's a shitty film. But it's a lot better than films like Batman and Robin, I will say that much.
Oh yeah, I mean, in that era, yeah, absolutely, yeah, definitely. I mean, definitely. I can agree with that, and like for me, I personally like hoping like he's a really cool character, but also another thing is like I wanted to kind of give off one more thing. Oh, that would be really cool seeing a Crow. Madhouse was originally supposed. Oh shit! Really? They were supposed to do a Crow anime series. Fuck, that would have been really cool. But I mean, I wanted to go back to the Marvel being lawsuit, whatever. I really don't want to have.
I think Marvel, if they're smart, they should settle and give the estates of the original creators their fair due. The estates their fair dues. Because if it wasn't for people like Steve Ditko and Jack Kirby, we wouldn't have this Marvel Cinematic Universe. We wouldn't have anything Marvel related. Really,
I can agree with that statement, but I mean, when I just
Marvel fucking screwed them over, and that's why Image is a thing.
Just saying, with the today's whole standard of this is my character, I'm pulling him out, and then after that, the books kind of pretty much lost its value, or the character lost its value, like the Conan Barbarian character, where the rights issues are just abysmal.
Well, here's the thing:
And
not everything should be owned by the mouse.
I could
I'm
agree
just
and
saying.
disagree with that statement.
Not everything should be owned by the Mickey Mouse. By Mickey Mouse.
Well, that's fine by you. I'm being very understanding what you're saying, but I strongly disagree.
Well, what do you mean everything should be owned by the mouse?
Oh, excuse me. God, sorry about that.
So you're saying everything that a person, every character that a person creates while working at Marvel, they shouldn't own that character or get
well, for me,
a fair...
I go with the standard. If I created something, if I made a video game, if I made a comic for your company, I don't want the credit.
So you're saying if you create a brand new character that you don't want your dues for that character, you create a brand new character.
Oh, the whole purpose of what I look at is like I made a character for your company, and I.
So you're saying, okay, so what you're saying is Angela should be owned by Todd McFarlane. Then that's what you're saying,
huh?
So you're saying the character Angela, that's now a Marvel character, she should still be owned by Todd McFarlane.
To a certain degree, yes, but also I also could say to a certain degree no because he didn't write for her.
Well, I mean, here's the thing: Todd McFarlane hired Neil Gaiman to write an issue 2 for Spawn, and then Neil Gaiman created Angela, the Spawn killer Angel, the Hellspawn killer.
Okay, yeah, that's true.
And she was a very prominent. And here's the thing: within that issue 2, kind of set the setting for the whole Spawn universe in a sense, like the idea of heaven versus.
It also established like maybe Spawn and her had a bit of have a bit of like a relationship type, which I did like, and I felt like if they kept it going and if she was still around, maybe she would have been Al Simmons' replacement of Wanda. It would have been really cool. I would have been all in on that shit. I was really liking that relationship, but my only issue on her is they never utilized her. But the whole thing, what I'm trying to say is like, if I made a product for your company, all I care for is just have that character be successful. That's the main point. What I want, and I just feel like I'm like, oh boy, I'm just like, we're opening a can of worms that really Marvel could go lose everything. And that's both good and bad. And I don't know what else I could say. I mean, you get what I mean? Oh, oh shit.
Yep.
Oh,
sorry. I don't know why I keep getting kicked out. What I'm trying to say is the reason why you don't see Angela, you haven't saw Angela as much is because Todd and Neil were literally in fucking court fighting for that character along with Cogliostro. That's why you barely saw the character in the book.
Oh, okay. Okay, that made sense.
That's why that character was so underused and so, that's what I'm saying is that the character was literally in limbo between Todd and Neil Gaiman, and Neil Gaiman sold the character off, and Todd killed the character off.
I guess he had a different way of doing things, or he wanted to go for a different direction for the character. And Todd didn't want to do that. And yeah, I get what you're saying. But do you get what I'm saying on how I feel like?
Here's the thing. If I create something for Marvel and they make billions of dollars off it, I think I should get a percentage off that.
Okay. All right.
If I create a character and IP for Marvel, I believe I should get paid a percentage of that. Because without me, you wouldn't have that character.
I get where you're... Mm-hmm.
And that's why Marvel had to sell the movie rights to Spider-Man, Iron Man, all the characters off to Sony and these other movie studios because all their artists left Marvel and nearly killed Marvel in the 90s.
So you're thinking that Disney's going to have to either spread the characters or just say we're just going to sit on it?
what they're going to have to do is they're going to have to settle. They're going to have to settle because this is $1 billion, $1 trillion franchise that they're about to lose, and they're going to have to settle, or they're going to lose everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's also what, like, things like this. It's also why Marvel's, Marvel and Disney, they're reworking their contracts for the movies because of what's happening with Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah, which also kind of pissed me off as well because I mean she's the reason why the whole fucking bullshit of what's going on, fucking whatchamacallit, the Luce brothers leaving because they wanted to do Secret Wars, and now they're like, well, we don't want to do it because we want to be a supporter with Scarlett Johansson. And I'm like, great, wonderful.
Hold that thought on the Scarlett Johansson comment in regards to what Tave said in the private chat. The reason why Marvel went bankrupt is because all of its artists left and the stock went to shit. That's why they're about to go.
True. I mean, and that's
because all the Marvel artists that went to create Image left, and the stock went to shit. All the investors, went to go for Image, basically, and that's why Marvel went bankrupt. Basically, yeah. Todd McFarlane is the reason why Marvel has rights issues with their movies.
Yeah,
people like Todd McFarlane, essentially.
Yeah, he took, and that's something I agree. That's something I do love McFarlane doing. He took a risk on something, but the one thing that really pissed me off when I was watching the Image documentary film was Jim Lee. He just joined just because. He never really...
he joined because Todd is a good salesman. Todd McFarlane is a good salesman. That's why Spawn is the way it is, because he advertised the book so well.
Yeah.
Another reason why Marvel took a shit too is because of the bubble pop that happened during the whole speculators market for the baseball cards and comic books in the 90s. In fact, comic books in general almost went out of business when that happened.
Yeah, that's true. Because,
but basically, the reason why Marvel went bankrupt, the main sole reason, was because all their artists left and all the investors that put in money, like that basically were investing into Marvel, they all left and went to competing companies.
I wanted to ask you on this main.
The reason why it's also another reason why the art for Nightfall wasn't as good as all the other Image shit.
Also, can I say something? I want to know your thoughts on this, and please tell me how you feel about this. How do you feel Marvel doing a New 52 type style, where they reboot their universe, but they're gonna do the MCU comics? They're just gonna end the 616 Marvel universe.
And you mean end the 616 just to do the cinematic universe?
Yeah, and also like kind of stretch other movie types. Let's say you have like 3 different Spider-Man comics. Like you have the Sam Raimi Spider-Man, the Mark Webb Spider-Man, and the MCU Spider-Man. That whole direction, because there are parts.
I don't know. I don't honestly care what goes on with Marvel. I just watch the films because that's the only thing that pertains to my interest. Is just the MCU films.
Yeah, okay.
I don't give a fuck about the Marvel or DC with these because they keep flip-flopping so much on their books.
Yeah, I could agree. I could understand that. I really do.
And that's the funny thing too. The reason why they're making Superman's son gay and they're making him the main Superman so that way they don't have to pay any money towards
wait. They're making him gay?
Schuster.
No.
What they're doing is with this new Superman book that's coming out, they're making Superman's son Superman, and they're making him gay.
You mean John Kent's going to be gay?
Yes. You haven't been following Twitter? I mean, that's the reason why people are so...
Dude, I don't know if you've been keeping up with me, but I did a video saying how I feel with DC. I'm done with DC in terms of comics. Like, I really just don't... Like, if you really want to know how I feel about DC Comics... I personally believe, like, this is just me. I believed that the DC universe on the New 52 direction...
No, Ren, that is not a rumor. That was something that was told to Evan Van Sciver, and those people Basically, these websites check their sources with DC, and DC kind of like, yeah, we're happening, but it's not happening now. That's not a rumor. It's actually happening. There are multiple articles, like from Comic Book News, Cosmic News, and all this shit. It's a legit thing. Jonathan Kent's going to be the new Superman, and he's gay. That's legit.
You'll get your time. You'll get your time.
But the only reason why they're making this new version of Superman is so that way they don't have to pay the originals. They don't have to pay the estate of the original creators of Superman any money.
Oh wow, that's something real nice. But mind asking you on this whole thing. The reason why
they can do. Here's the thing. I don't honestly care what they do. They're just doing. They do what they do. I'm just saying the reason why they're doing it is malicious.
Yeah, I could get
doing it for a malicious reason.
But I mean, like for me, for DC Comics, I like the New 52. I thought that what they were doing was just fine. They were just doing really good stories, and there was really no problem with the direction I felt like they were going for. And the problem is, I really believe that they cater to the fans in Rebirth, and it was forced down your throat of let's mention every little bit what made DC history so good, and it's like it was just forced. And plus we have some dumbass ruined Wally, the original Kid Flash, and I'm just like, great. I took DC some credit on creating a new interpretation of the character. Now you brought back that character. It was forced down my throat of, oh yeah, let's make him in the new status quo. Let's do all this bullshit excuse, but we're gonna make it even 10 times worse. We're gonna make him such out of character.
Here's one thing I wanted to mention too is that
Go on.
The reason why they're making Jonathan Kent gay is the same reason why they made Miles Morales. They just want to have a gay character just because they want a gay character, and that's it. They're not doing it just because, they're
doing it for publicity stunt.
They're not doing it for reasons, that are reasonable reasons per se, within reason.
The reason why I say here's the thing about Miles. There was nothing there for the Ultimate Universe. They had to fucking make something shit up real quick just to keep that shit going. And that's the only thing they did was like, okay, let's kill off Spider-Man. Let's do the idea that we failed on the Amazing Spider-Man title, and let's just go forward from there.
That's interesting. I didn't know Jim Lee left because of the whole he had a thing with Marvel. They never explained that in the documentaries. Never mentioned that.
Oh, you mean 616 actually? Oh yeah, he's really kind of all into the image, all in the Marvel stuff. He's bigger knowledge to me, like half the shit. I'm like, oh, I didn't know that. I'm like, okay. So if you want to talk to him on the comment box, hey John, if you're still here, come down if you want.
Well, yeah, the funny thing is that there's a documentary by Robert Kirkman about the history of comics, and for the first time you got the full story of between what happened between Todd McFarlane and the editors at Marvel on the last day they left. You never got the full story, and finally you do.
Yeah, I can understand. I can understand the problems of the Marvel company. I'm like, yet again, how would you feel if they did MCU comics?
Honestly, I would say it's a waste of time because, people go to the movies because they don't want to read the comic books most of the time. They don't want to. That's why they made movie adaptations of books, because people don't want to read books most of the time.
But yet again, I would dare say, it
just doesn't. I would say make a show, like an animated show or a live action show, if you don't want to continue making movies. But I would say making comic books wouldn't be the best idea, more or less.
Do you think that Marvel should stop putting comic books out? Do you think that the comics just don't really mean nothing anymore? And the Marvel brand is so goddamn big that really we're at a point.
I don't think they should stop. I don't think they should stop making books. I think they should just make books that people want to read. Instead of making books that people guess they're gonna read, Why do they listen to what the fans want to read, basically?
But sometimes the fans could also kill a product, like DC Rebirth did. A short term that was basically a cash in to every fan's boy.
You mean the rebirth? You mean the rebirth stuff that happened after 52?
Yeah. The end after DCU, and it pretty much just gone down the shitter after that. It was
I heard the Flash Rebirth was one of the best books out there.
Yeah, but I disagree with that statement.
Flash and Green Lantern.
It may be
one of the best books about Rebirth.
Hold on, give me 1 minute. Just give me 1 minute. I gotta go deal with dogs.
I never said Miles was gay. I'm just saying they made Miles Morales for the sake of having a character like that. Kind of like how they're making Jonathan Kent gay, and they're making him like they're making John. Whatever.
But anyway, like back to what I was saying, like, yeah, half the books that people say was all good. I'm like, yeah, but that made me stop reading DC Comics because it was forced. It mentioned every damn dime of what DC did, and yet again, I questioned why we're doing this. Why we're doing this?
Well, I guess you could say is that you should cater to the fans like McFarlane is doing. That's why McFarlane's selling almost a million copies of his books, like King Spawn.
Oh yeah, and none of it's so forced. And the one thing about his books and many other independent books, they're not forced. And one of the things about Marvel and DC, the difference between DC and Marvel is I could take a book and I could literally enjoy it, and it would be a Marvel book that I could like and have a really good enjoyment factor out of it. But when I read a DC book, I just get it.
That's the thing about McFarlane is that he knows how to make a book without stepping on anyone's toes. He doesn't disregard he doesn't disregard people that read his books. He wants everyone to read his books, so he's real careful how he writes these books.
That's true. You're right.
Whereas these writers and editors, they don't give a fuck about what people like or dislike. It's like you either like these books or you don't buy them.
That's true.
Whereas McFarlane's like, I need to know how to make this books appealable to everyone, so that way everyone buys them.
That's true.
That's why Marvel and DC are failing, because they're not realizing that we should instead of catering to a certain crowd, they should cater to everyone. They should cater to everyone if they can.
I don't agree with that. Like yet again, I'm like I understand that message, but I feel like the problem with the reason why Spawn is so successful, at least to me, if Spawn was having the ideas of characters of what I'm trying to say is Spawn has that cool factor, and people like the idea of like, okay, it's not from Marvel or DC. I can somewhat see where it's going to go. Therefore, it gives that open the door for people going into it. You get what I mean?
Well, the reason why people like Spawn is because people got burned out of Batman and Spider-Man. They got burned out of Marvel and DC. They just
that's true. And many people probably do feel that way as well.
And guess what? Why do you think Spawn is selling about 500,000 copies or more? Burnout, baby, fucking burnout.
Yeah, and I'm burnt out of
Batman. Marvel keeps burning out. DC keeps burning out. Why do you think they keep flip flopping on the movies because they're hitting burnout?
Okay. I want to know, what do you think Marvel should do on their comics?
Well, one thing, they should get rid of writers like fucking what's his face, Dan Slott. Because Dan Slott keeps fucking flip flopping, and I've seen that documentary how he writes the Marvel way. He's not proficient with writing.
What about Bendis? I think he's a good
I don't know anything about Bendis. But I'm just saying writers like Tom King and Dan Slott, they need to go.
I gotta get going, guys. I'll see you later, guys.